start. So
Cool.
tell us about yourself a little bit.
My name is Dylan, and I am a comedian and a writer, illustrator. I live in San Francisco, California. Uh, I'm trans. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of creative stuff for a long time, and uh, comedy and like performing live have been like a new thing. I started about a year ago, and it's been really fun. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
So like when did you start like stand up, and like what was the reaction of the audience?
I started stand up about a year ago. I think I've just hit my first year, which is not a lot in stand up world. Um, I started going to open mics, I think last summer, and I actually started going to like queer open mics to start out, which
Okay.
was like a much better room. Um, People are just like way more. It was for like
Open.
queer, yeah, queer like and like women focused open mics. Those were like the first ones I went to, and my first open mic was like I was like so nervous, but it went really well. Uh, People were really like excited and supportive, which is like not really
Expected?
how it is. It's not how it is in the rest of the like comedy world, really.
Okay.
Um, I don't know, especially when I started going to like non-queer open mics. Uh,
Then you realize this.
yeah, people aren't as like I don't know as
Oh,
supportive, but it's like I feel like on for the majority of like comedy in San Francisco, it's like it is pretty supportive. I like sort of take that back. I think the stakes in SF are like kind of low, and that helps because people are like less cutthroat or like less competitive, because there's like not, there's not like a entertainment industry here or anything.
basically they are doing it for like passion or something like that. So that is why they are more open to it.
Right? Yeah. Here it's more just like about having fun and
Yeah.
um yeah, it's a good place to start, I think, to start comedy. I'm glad I started here instead of like in New York or LA.
Okay. So like what's your opinion on gender equality when it comes to this thing?
Uh it's complicated. It's a big question. um,
Yeah, it is.
I
It
mean,
is
it's
actually.
important. I mean, in the States, it's still an issue. In the comedy world, it's not great. There's still a lot of like gatekeepers, and it's still kind of a boys' club. And I've kind of avoided a lot of that though. Um, I don't know. There's places where like it's more of like I don't know, like sort of you have to sort of like get down with the boys and like um sort of like get on their level and sort of go through like a process, and I like wasn't interested in that. um so I like didn't do it. I didn't like even try, even though it's sort of like there's more like renown there. I don't know. I just sort of like found people that I was more comfortable doing comedy with, and that has like worked better. It's like been easy to find friends and people that are supportive. uh but I mean, on the larger scale of like gender equality, it's like I don't know, obviously it's an issue around the world,
Yeah.
like access to like healthcare and like abortion rights in this country. I don't know. I don't have any like really like
Strong opinion on this.
I have strong opinions. I just don't have like them like worded very well in my head.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Good. So, do you think our society has become a little more open-minded, or matlab, as far as sexuality is concerned, and
Yeah.
or do you feel it still regressive in that term?
uh it's both. I
Yeah.
mean, it's weird because like I think socially in the US, like at least for me, I feel like things have opened up. I feel like there's been like more acceptance of like definitely gay, and like slowly more trans people are being accepted. There's like been shows like Pose that are like revolutionary for like trans representation. But at the same time, it's like I don't know, like Black trans women are like just like at a higher rate of like homelessness and like access to healthcare is difficult, and they're being murdered at like rates that are like way higher than the general population. So also like this last month, the Trump administration like not reversed, but they made it okay to discriminate to discriminate against trans people for health providers, which is like awful.
Yeah, that is really not expected from a
Right,
country
because
so progressive like US.
yeah, I mean it's obviously like bigoted and hateful. Uh, so like right now we're like in a time where it's like rights are being threatened for like the gay community and especially the trans community. So I don't know. It's hard because it's like many things at once. I think. I feel like we're finally getting good trans representation, and like trans people are like feeling comfortable being visible in the U.S. But there's still like a ton of work to be done. I don't know. I don't know what it's like in India at all. Is it
So,
what's like?
so basically in India, as far as trans people are concerned,
Mhm.
so we have a tradition over here, like all all over, like any occasion. So they'll be discriminated. Like when you are going on just for a walk on a road and you see a trans woman or a trans man, then they'll
Mhm.
discriminate openly without any
The
restrictions or
Sorry,
yeah. And
the what?
but the main thing comes when an auspicious occasion like a wedding or an
Uh-huh.
birth of a newborn is there. So blessings of trans people are considered auspicious over here. They're especially called for their blessings.
I
So
see.
yeah,
That's so interesting. Is there
yeah,
like there's like a history of that, right? Like,
yeah. This is a culture over here. How is it has been going on for ages now.
cool. That sounds good.
Actually, I don't find it cool.
No, I don't know.
No.
No
So
way. We're not. You said auspicious, right? Like they like seek
yeah,
trans people out
yeah,
for like certain
it's
blessings.
it's auspicious. I don't know, like, but then they should be considered uh, equal all over the time. No,
Yeah,
why only on particular those occasions? That's not
I see.
right. Yeah,
So like it's like imbalanced. Like
yeah,
certain
absolutely.
rights are not at the same level of. Okay, I see now.
Yeah, yeah. So when you started the stand up, so was it then when you started shunning people with the great comebacks, or you were before that?
You're talking about like the J.K. Rowling thing,
Yeah.
right? Well, what's funny is I already had that joke as part of my set before she like wrote her essay, but I
Okay.
just tweaked it to sort of like address her more specifically. Um,
Okay.
so I don't know. I kind of cheated. I already had that as like a bit in my stand-up set. Um, I wish I could think of things like that quickly, but I know that was already a practice piece for like a couple months at least.
So if someone like says something just opposite in the meaning of what you are expecting, so you think in your
Yeah, like
mind and then come with a comeback later when you
yeah. I
okay.
honestly I don't. I think like what you're talking about is like heckling and crowd work.
No, not particularly in your profession. I'm
I
just
see.
talking in
Oh, like general.
general, yeah, in general.
Yeah, I think I like the writing aspect, but that always takes time. So
Yeah.
I need to like think about what I'm gonna say and like carefully write it out. Um, I don't know. I don't usually like respond to specific people. It would just happen that way, and I was like, oh, I should record this piece that I already have, and then make
Okay.
it as if I'm addressing her specifically.
Okay. So, do you now even bother what people say? Like, or you are a badass, like, go to hell, man. I have more important stuff in life to do.
Um, like if people like say bad stuff, is that what you said in the
Yeah.
beginning?
Yeah. Like, in this, like, as towards your community or. just in person for you?
Yeah, it doesn't happen that much in person or at all. Uh, just online, kind of. I'll
Hateful.
get like people like showing up in the comments that are like pretty negative or like coming at me, but I just block them most of the time. I don't know. Um, I don't really have the effort or the energy to address each person, or I don't know. Um, I think on a broader scale, my comedy, it starts out at like a level where I expect a certain level of respect. Um, and I like go from there. So I already start at like 100 and then move up from there. I don't know if this is making sense, but I feel like in the last, forever, the trans community has been asking, like they're trying to get respect from the rest of the world, basically. Um, and to like, it's like there's a lot of like see me as a person, like give me my rights and stuff like that, which is all really important. But for the comedy that I do, I already expect that they're at that level, and people will rise to it too. I don't know. It's sort of. I don't spend any time trying to gain respect or recognition as like a person. I already just like start there, and then
Great.
sort of like move. Yeah,
Be
I don't know
like
if that
that.
makes sense.
Be like that.
Yeah, right. I don't want to
Yeah.
spend time trying to like argue that I'm like worthy of listening or paying attention to. I just start from like a base level of that, but also even more than that. I think I in my, I don't know if I didn't send you a set or anything, but um in a lot of it I have this attitude of like it's a blessing for you to like even look at me, and um like how lucky you are to like listen to me. I don't know. It's sort of like, it's like a character. It's sort of like a um it's a performance, but that's where I want to start.
So, are you a more of a reserved person? Since
Sorry, was that
are you more of a reserved kind of person?
results?
Reserved.
Reserved. I guess, yeah. I think in my day-to-day life I'm pretty reserved. Not on stage though. I don't know. Um I just turned 35, so I don't like, and I'm in quarantine. Like I don't go out anymore. But I don't know. I'm like too old to like live a wild life of like drinking or doing drugs anymore. Um so
Wait, why?
so yeah, like I think my life is like pretty, I don't know, it's not super exciting day to day. I say that, but then whenever I don't know, like pre-quarantine, whenever uh whenever I tell anyone about my like sex life or anything going on, they're just like, "Oh my god, like what are you
Yeah.
talking about?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, like I'm pretty conservative with my sex life for the queer community, which is like freaky to everyone else, I think." If that makes sense.
Yeah, it is. It does. It does.
Yeah, it's like I'm not even that wild, but like my conservative in the gay community is like, pretty wild for straight world, I think.
Oh no.
Are
See,
you, wait, can I ask you a question? Are you still like, what's the situation with coronavirus in India?
so we have reached a number of 5 lakh cases 2 days back, and
Uh-huh.
so we are going to reach a peak. We have still not predicted when that peak will come,
I see.
and yeah, so we are in our homes. As far as we are in there, we are safe, and as soon as the situation resumes the normal situation, then it's going to be tough.
It's gonna be tough, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
How long have you been like, here it's called like sheltering in place. I don't know if you have like a different name.
We call it lockdown only, and for me, I have been in my home since March 22.
Damn, okay.
Yeah.
So we're on a similar timeline.
Yeah.
Ours was like
Actually,
March 15th or something. So
yeah. Actually, that's when I think all around the world the cases start peaking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it's here. It's been like a mess. So we've done like a terrible job in the U.S. and like parts of the country are like reopening, and then cases are like skyrocketing right now. And there's probably going to be a second shutdown. San Francisco never like really opened up again. Like California's been pretty like tight with the lockdown the whole time. But just curious. I'm just curious like what your situation is.
No, it's absolutely fine. So, so are you a fan of rom-com movies or romantic novels?
I've never read a romance
Actually, I
novel.
precisely, are you a fan of cliche rom-coms or romantic novels?
Um, not. I don't think I like the genre that much, but there's. I feel like they always do such a terrible job. I feel like the bar is really low, and it's not great. But I feel like there are some rom coms that are like excellent. Um, my favorite rom com is it's a movie from I think the '90s. It's called Moonstruck. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've.
I have watched that film.
It's
I
amazing. It has
have,
Cher
yeah,
and Nicolas Cage.
yeah.
And Cher looks like gorgeous,
Oh yeah,
and
she does.
Nicolas Cage is like insane. But it's like a perfect rom com, and it's crazy because it still holds up
Oh
to like
yeah,
today. Um, every I don't know, it's like one of my favorite movies in general, and it just happens to be a rom com, but uh, it's like perfect. It's like a perfect movie. Every scene like runs like a Swiss watch.
I love
I'm
her
glad you've
curly. I love her curly hair in that movie.
yeah. I'm glad you've seen it. I'm glad you've seen it. It's so good, right?
So actually, I'm a big fan of rom-com movies. So
Oh yeah.
my latest Google search will be tell me the best rom-coms. So
Uh-huh.
that's why Moonstruck has been on my list.
I see. Do you have any recommendations?
So since you are not a fan, I would not recommend you.
No. I want to believe that there's like there's good ones out there, but it seems like there's the vast majority are like not at Moonstruck level, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So there was one Crazy Stupid Love I watched. It has Ryan Gosling in it, and
Uh-huh.
I hope you have heard of it.
I think
If not,
I think I
yeah.
it
If
came out
not,
like in the 2000s, right? I think.
yeah. I don't remember the year, but it was somewhere around that. Okay.
Cool. I'll look it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Okay. So, Dylan, as far as discrimination is concerned, are there any places where you haven't faced discrimination?
Where I haven't uh I you know uh I started transitioning like 5 years ago, and I've like been able to pass. I've had it's called like passing privilege, where people don't read me as trans or like as a man, and unfortunately, it's like really helpful to like get through my day and stuff. Like I don't get harassed or anything like at the grocery store or like on public transportation or anything. And it's like a huge privilege because I mean I have friends who've talked about getting like getting clocked and being harassed, and it's like terrible. So I don't know. I've had a pretty lucky time. I actually moved to San Francisco from the South Bay so that I could be in a city that would be more accepting too, and it's been pretty good. I have had like almost no issue as far as like discrimination, which is great. It's funny. I moved here before Trump was elected, and at the time I thought it was like overkill. I'm like, do I really need to be in this like gay city to be safe? And as soon as he was elected, I was like, no, like it's I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Kind of. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, So how do you deal with unfavorable situations if you still face any, like in terms of this particular area only?
Um, I haven't had to face too many, to be honest. So I don't really have too much of a plan, but I'm sure like I'm gonna run into stuff for comedy that'll like I was saying with like certain gatekeepers, or I've had other trans comedian friends talk about having like really negative experiences or people saying stuff on stage about them that's very like disparaging. And I don't know. I think I have a pretty thick skin at this point, and I I think my comedy. I don't want to sound I don't want to sound full of myself, but I feel like it's at a level that's very uh it's very good and it's very like tight and solid, um and my persona on stage is like extremely confident. Uh and so like when I'm up there, I want to like project this sort of like uh what's the word? Just just being completely like unflappable and just like airtight so that no one can really say anything. I don't know. I also have like a lot of my comedy is like going directly at straight men that are in the audience and like making fun of them. And so I don't know. Maybe that's part of why no one's ever said anything, because it's like the comedy's good and it's aggressive and sort of like just like undeniable is where I want to that's sort of like where I want to be, to just sort of have um a quality that can't be questioned, you know. Because I know I'm sure like a common comment is like you're only getting these like gigs because you're trans, but I want to like get up on stage and be like, I'm like my joke, it's because my jokes are great and everything, the writing is solid. So I think that's what I've been trying to do, just yeah, just try to like provide like an excellent show so that it's not really questionable. I don't know.
Great. So, have you ever felt low or depressed? And when was that? Like, when was the time when you felt lowest in your life?
My life, probably right before transitioning. I was like unemployed and living with my parents, and I realized I was trans. This was probably in my late 20s. I I like it's called like coming out to yourself. Like I came out to myself and
Yeah.
like realized I was trans, and I didn't want to do anything about it because like I love to be avoidant and procrastinate. So I spent like a whole year just like living in my parents' attic, not talking to anyone and not making any kind of changes. I wonder what year that was. It was probably what was I want to say like 2016. Is that right? No. 2014 I think was that year. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was just completely like stagnant. But I don't know. I made it out. I don't know who's gonna be listening to this, but there's there's hope out there. I don't know. I didn't think I would ever make any kind of changes, and then I don't know. I took like it only took 1 year, but I don't know. I got out of it somehow.
Okay. So, how did you got that motivation or that confidence?
Uh, I think we can start with like the motivation, but I mean the motive, like to be honest, I was like either gonna kill myself or transition, and that's like what it came down to. Um, and I was like, I guess I don't want to die. Too scary. So I don't know. It's sort of like it's hard because it's I don't know. It's something that requires action, but it's not really a choice. You know, it's a choice between like life or death. So that's one thing. And then I think as like time went on and I felt like better about myself, and I was able to like date again and like love myself and care about myself. I think that's where all like the confidence came in. Uh, yeah, and so I don't know. Now when I get on stage, I don't want my persona to be like second guessing myself, or like I said, even asking for Respect. I want to get up there and be 100% confident in what I'm saying. Yeah, that's sort of, I don't know, that's sort of the arc of the last 5 years for me.
Okay. So, uh, I hope that your family has been always supportive. But what was your what was your relative circle reaction was like? How did they used to react? And now how they have changed it?
I've changed it. I I sort of came out to my mom first, and she was really supportive, and she's been supportive from the beginning. She actually like bought a bunch of books about like understanding trans people, and like I think she bought Janet Mock's book. And who else? I forgot her name. I think her name is Sarah McBride. It's another trans person. Yeah, but she's been totally supportive. And I have the Asian side of my family is in the Bay Area, and they've all been. I have like a bunch of aunts and uncles and cousins, and they've all been supportive, and it's been great. And then even I have the rest of my family lives like in New York, and I don't really see them that often, but they've all been supportive, like, you know, from a distance. The only person who hasn't been very supportive is my dad. Uh, I have a joke about him, which is that he's half Mexican and half Irish. So you can probably guess what his favorite food is, right? Right, it's the body and blood of Christ. Makes sense to me. He's very conservative and very like religious, and so he was like pretty like I tried to like put a lot of work into like explaining it and like sending him videos and like things to read, but he's like in the dyed in the wool uh like Republican, and he's been conservative his whole life, and so he's had a hard time. And especially in the beginning, he was like very, I don't know, he would send me a lot of anti-trans articles and like stuff trying to convince me not to do it and saying it's a sin and stuff. uh and then at some point I had to just like ask him to stop, and I was like, if you want to like, you know, have a relationship here, you got to stop doing this stuff. And he's actually gotten better. It's taken a long time. He's not like there 100%, but we can like be in the same room at least.
Okay.
And like, you know, so I don't know. I also came out like way later. I transitioned at 30. So I don't know, I was able to like sort of put the things in place to have like a lot of stability, so I wasn't like relying on my parents for anything, or were like that worried about their approval, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there was no like ties there. It's like you know, if things go bad, I don't need them. As as callous as that might sound, I don't know. But that's sort of that's like a reality for a lot of like trans and gay people, is like you have to like be willing to lose people, which is a tragedy, but I don't know, that's like the reality.
I think it's same all over the world. Like in India also, they are abandoned as soon as they find that they have a trans baby,
Yeah.
as I, as I can say. And
Hmm.
yeah, so it's, I guess it is the same as far as your community is concerned, or the way people react to it. I think they are
Yeah.
overreacting, and for a reason, everybody should be concerned to their lives. But I don't know why they can't be just focusing on their on the happenings in their life rather than concentrating on others. So I don't know why this happens, but it is been there for like forever now.
Yeah, forever. Especially like you said, there's like a cultural history in India
Yeah,
of gender nonconforming people, right?
yeah. So
I wish that was here, but yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, no. Say what you were saying.
No, that's, I think that's like interesting because I don't know. It's not any part of like, I don't know. I consider myself like American. I think I'm like I don't know, third generation on my mom's side. So, uh, and I guess second on my dad's side. Is that right? Yeah. So I don't know how to speak Chinese or Spanish. So I don't know. But yeah, there's no cultural history for like trans people in like you have in India, in the US.
See, as far as it goes like that, it's good. It's better actually, because now I think the situation is going to be more progressive rather than going in those harsh times. It's going to be now modern, and straight people are now more aware of the community, what the community faces. And as far as even now, some of the straight people are also supportive to you guys, and they also know that yeah, everybody deserves equality, and that's most important, I guess,
Yeah,
because that's how our society progresses. Everybody
totally.
has to, yeah,
Yeah, and
everybody.
I was gonna say it's just like why it's exciting and it's crazy because we've made a lot of progress and it's only been maybe like 6 years of like seeing actual trans representation in the US, and I don't know.
Great. So like, was your father against your transitioning, or he has been against this whole like trans community, as I can say?
I don't think he thought about the trans community before I came out. um, but no, he was against transitioning and stuff for me, but he didn't really have any control over that. So I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Um, you know, he has like a classic like Catholic mindset about um I guess seeing like gayness as a sin, and your job is to like never act on it. Like it's like God gave you this challenge and you're just supposed to never act on it. That's like his perspective. Um which is, I don't know. So it's not really where I'm at, obviously. um, but I try to understand it, but I don't know. I don't know if I need to.
So how has your lockdown been?
Sorry, my what?
How has the shutdown been for you?
Oh, it's like it just keeps on going on. I don't know. It's pretty miserable. I I sort of go up and down. I don't know if you had this experience, but it's like some days I feel okay and like it's manageable, and then other days I'm just like I miss my friends and like going out. I don't know. I was performing a ton of comedy for the last few months before shutdown happened, and now there's no more comedy shows. So I missed that. I think a big breakthrough is like transitioning to doing like video content, which is probably how you heard about me. Because I was mostly focused on like live performance, and then as soon as the shutdown happened, I was like, I need to start making video content because that's like all there is. Uh, and yeah, it's been fun making videos. It's like a new thing. I hadn't really done a whole lot of video stuff, and I feel like I'm still learning. It's interesting because I feel like the younger generation is so skilled at making like video stuff and just content in general, like with TikTok and stuff. And I'm just like, how do they do it? And they're so funny too. I don't know. I feel like so old, like like slowly figuring out like how to like film myself and make myself look good, and like I don't know, just like the basics. But yeah, it's been fun that aspect. But I miss, you know, all the being outside and seeing people. I haven't seen my family since the springtime. I don't know. How's it going for you?
So I totally gel with that part. Like, some days are ups and some days are downs, because
Uh-huh.
you can't be happy every day. You can't be happy every day. You are not
Yeah.
God. You are not God at all. So yeah. So I I wake up to a good energy someday, and then one day will come that okay, my energy will go down like, okay, it's like negative infinity too. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I will not get up from my bed to just even take a glass of water. So it's that bad some days. And but we have to work from home, so we can't do anything. Uh,
Right. Are you a student right now, or do you have like a
so
work from home job?
yeah, so currently I am in my final year of graduation, basically
Cool.
undergraduate, what they call in US. So yeah, so it's a 4-year program. So and parallelly I am interning at a company. So
Cool.
yeah, it's work
But
from
all
home.
from home right now. How
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
miserable.
yeah, totally. But the
uh,
bad part is company don't understand this thing that okay, some days are low and some days are high. You have to go work when they gotta work.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Groundhog's Day.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's with Bill Murray. Basically, the premise is that he like wakes up in the same day every day. So like out of nowhere, he just starts living the same exact day, and everyone's doing the same stuff.
Okay.
If that makes sense, like
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, it's like March 23rd over and over in his
Okay.
life,
Okay.
and that's what it's. I don't know, and he becomes like miserable, and like he like at some point he's like killing himself, but he just keeps waking up in the same day. Anyway, that's what it feels like. It feels like it's the same, like because I can't like go out or I don't know, see friends. So it's like
Yeah.
my day is exactly the same every day. I don't know if that's like good for you, but maybe it's different because you're like making progress. You're like getting closer to graduating. You're interning in a company and like learning new things. But for me, it's almost like it's just like every fucking day is the same day.
So, like, is the motive of the movie to tell you that okay, change is important in life, and that is why life is like that, and you cannot live a same kind of mood in every day.
It's I think the message is it's like it supposedly has like a very Buddhist uh like idea because I think the message is like we're all in Groundhog's Day anyway. And in the movie he like starts like learning things and like making himself better. Like he starts like reading books and taking like piano lessons because ultimately he has all this time. Like he doesn't have to go to work or anything really. Like he just skips his job. He's like, oh, like because it's the same day, I can just like start learning things and like talking to people. Yeah, so because he starts out like being pretty miserable and like locked into his job and just like caught up in like the rat race that he's in, and then he goes through like a period of depression, but then he comes out being like sort of like realizing that he can like use this like time to like learn stuff and yeah, make himself like into a better person. And it's supposed to be like a metaphor. It's like that for all of us. Like every day ends and starts over again, and it's just like we just like gradually have to better ourselves. I think that's the message is sort of like that. Yeah.
Okay, I will definitely watch this because it sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, have you learned something new in this shutdown, or done something productive apart from your like daily comedy videos?
yeah. I mean, I don't know uh, if you're aware, but there's been a lot of like protests against racial injustice in the U.S. And we're like at this just crazy inflection point where people are out in the streets. I've gone to some protests and uh, yeah, and I've like been a part of like organizing stuff and just trying to participate in this movement. Um, that's like sort of against it's about like policing and just like racial inequality in the US and inequity. So I've been yeah, it's wild because it's all happening at the same time as coronavirus. um I don't know how to describe it, but things in the US feel really heavy and uh like historical. for like what's going on. So that's like a whole other aspect that I've been like trying to participate in, and like I actually want to make content about it because I don't know, I've been reading different Instagram posts and they're like, like if you're a creative person, try to figure out what your lane is for contributing to the movement. Like if you're an illustrator, you like can draw something. So I'm trying to work on making like video stuff for this, but I've been slow at it because I want to do it correctly and say the right thing and make my points like you know um like relevant and airtight. I don't know, that's not a word I keep using. So yeah, it's an insane time, and hopefully it'll end up with like a lot of positive change. And honestly, I feel hopeful, which is crazy. I haven't had much hope for my country in the last like 4 years. So it's crazy to feel like this sense of like camaraderie and solidarity with people and hope for the first time in 4 years.
Great. Okay. So good luck to you on your working videos, on your work in progress. And
Yeah.
I hope you will come up with great stuff out of this shutdown.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Welcome.
Do you have any other questions? I feel like I had a question for you, but I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, please take your time.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what was I going to ask you. I don't know. I'm just curious about what your life is like in India. I've never been to India.
I would definitely recommend you to come here because we are uh, great. We are great at hosting, first of all, and we have like different cultures over here, and that all is what is adding to India's glory every year. So
Uh-huh.
they age every year, and they add extra glory every year. So that's what the most important thing. And as far as I am concerned, I am really proud of my country. So
Cool. That's
yeah,
great. I
yeah.
wish I could say the same for me.
No, no.
um,
See. As far as the political issues are concerned, so every country faces that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Every country has its own personal political issues, and we can't we can't really remove them completely. So that's not an issue for me as far as it is concerned.
Can I ask you what are you majoring in? What's your
So
your
I'm majoring
studies?
in my I have a bachelor's in science and computer science.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Smart stuff. I have no aptitude for any of that, so I'm always impressed when someone does.
But I'm more of a creative personality. I like to write.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. So I
What
work
kind of
on
writing?
generally epiphanies and my daily thoughts.
Uh-huh.
And
It's
as I as I told you, I like rom-com. So I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm hopeless.
yeah.
So yeah.
Are you trying to write like a rom-com script or something?
No, not really.
I
But
see. I see. I
uh,
see.
yeah, I like reading that hopeless romanticism stuff.
Cool,
So
cool, cool.
yeah, and I build up fantasies in my head. So that
That's
happens.
fun.
Yeah, so that happens.
Huh. I should try to give more rom-coms a chance. Because I don't know. I always feel like they can be so good, but they usually seem to like put like low effort into me. I don't know. So I'm saying it's like they like kind of do the bare minimum
Okay.
sometimes. I don't know. I don't want to insult um
No.
your passion.
No.
I yeah, I just like I don't know.
Everybody has their views.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm always like I believe in them. I believe that they're gonna get there. I don't know.
Actually, my brother ridicules me on this that you watch this shitty rom-coms and there's nothing. And he's younger than me, so
It makes
that's
you
it.
feel good though, like it's like unquestionable,
Yeah,
you know?
actually, when you are watching that movie for 1.5 hours, you are in that you are in that mood, you are in that world, and
Yeah, that world,
you
right?
feel that everything is positive around you. But
Yeah,
as
yeah,
soon as
yeah.
the movie ends, okay, the reality strikes back.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah,
Good as they're probably really good to watch right now because it's like a good escape from,
yeah,
I don't know.
actually.
And since you're like stuck at home.
Okay, so
Cool.
Dylan,
Well, do you have any other questions?
no. Finally, we have come to
Okay.
an end. So, what's your message to the people out there who are going to watch this interview of yours?
I'm not. Well, who's gonna? Do you know like who usually sees these or
So, I don't
like the
know.
general
We are
audience?
going to post it on our
See what
platforms.
happens?
So, on our platforms, and I think most of the people watch it, whether they react it or not, but they watch it.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I
so
guess.
you have the opportunity, I guess, to
Yeah,
pass on the message.
yeah. I guess I don't know. Trans rights are human rights. You know, trans women are women. I don't know. I feel it's as a comedian, it's hard for me to like get on my soapbox. I don't know if you have that phrase, but um, I don't know. It's at least in the U.S. There's like we're like in a moment of like great transformation, uh, and I don't know, and it's all like a fight for like justice and progress, and I feel like that's a universal theme. You know, hopefully we'll all get there, and I don't know. I know it's like it's a long fight, but it's still worth fighting. I don't know.
Absolutely, it's worth fighting. And as far
Yeah,
as you said that there is hope, so keep that hope alive.
yeah,
And
yeah, definitely.
yeah, and we will reach that stage.
Yeah.
It was really nice talking to you, Dylan.
It was
And
nice talking to you too. This was fun. I'm glad we could
yeah,
figure out a
thank
time
you.
where we're both like awake.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
All
And
right.
thank
Have a
you.
good day, I guess. You're starting your day.
Yeah, and have a good night to you.
Thanks. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye, Grangi.
Bye.